Yalla Home
with Ella Schofield
and Big House.
Just after 5 o'clock, we are live through till 8 o'clock. Welcome back to Yalla Home. It's another weekend. It's Sunday.
100%. Assalamu alaikum and peace and blessings to everybody. What's coming up in the show, Anna?
Okay, coming up in the show, lots of showbiz stuff today. It was nice to find lots of showbiz stuff in the news. We got some comments from Melanie C. From the Spice Girls. I'm going to start with that rather than COVID. I think everyone should have some nice pop trivia. She's done a big interview, Melanie C., and she's quoted as saying it's not embarrassing to be a big pop fan anymore. And
wow.
I think she's right. Yeah.
We're also going to be talking no mask. New Zealand and Australia play out thrilling draw in front of a packed mask-free crowd. Wow, where did it happen? New Zealand or Australia?
Happened in New Zealand, I think.
Wow.
And the details, it's amazing to see the crowd pictures because I saw it and no one was wearing a mask. And I was like, and it just shows the level of indoctrination now. If you see a crowd and people aren't wearing masks, we're all like, what are you doing? And of course, for whatever reason, they were able to do that. I mean, New Zealand has been clear for a while.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about John Lennon's 80th birthday. We flagged it. I did him on the Music Greats last week. Well, it is the 80th birthday now, and his sister has been talking about this proper son of Liverpool, as she calls him.
Proper son of Liverpool.
That's the quote.
Okay. Wow. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Also, it was obviously World Mental Health Day yesterday, and the UAE's mental health helpline receives more than 700 calls during pandemic generally. Let's talk about that for sure.
We're talking about that.
Yeah.
And there's also some news out of the UK. There's two things come out of it. And firstly, I thought of you. Kate Middleton repurposes, that's an interesting word, repurposes jewellery gifted to Princess Diana by King Fahd of Saudi.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Am I pronouncing his name right?
Fahd, yeah.
Fahd.
So what?
Okay.
Wow. She... So King Fahd dedicated this to Princess Diana, and now Kate is wearing it?
She's doing something with it.
Okay.
She repurposes it, so she's given it a different purpose. I don't know whether it's gone to a museum, whether she's decided to give it to someone else, whether she's wearing it herself. I don't know, but she's done something amazing with it.
Man. Wow, a lot of news from the UK today.
Well, Saudi news.
That happens.
It's Saudi news.
Meghan Markle says she was the most trolled person in 2019.
Yeah, she's in the news all globally for that.
Okay.
And lastly, just because London's Theatreland is creeping out of COVID hibernation, and the reason that's obviously relevant is because I think it'll have a ripple effect on theatre across the globe for the West End to open, and then we can start looking at Broadway.
Happening. Look, in a couple of weeks, I think, in a couple of weeks, there's a big comedy festival happening in the UAE.
Yeah.
Gad El-Maleh is coming in here. He's a French comedian, the best in my opinion. Incredible guy. He's going to do his whole thing in French.
Wow.
And guess what? Sold out already, just from 2 hours of announcing.
Amazing. Sold
out. And it's really like something really cool. Also, we got to talk about the big game happening tomorrow morning, 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, the Miami Heat extended the series by winning Game 5. Now Game 6 is up there. LeBron James has another chance at the title. So we're definitely talking Lakers.
He's talking
and
basketball,
Miami.
by the way, guys. If you're going, what game where? It's basketball and it's the final.
Yeah, if you don't know basketball, man, I feel sorry for you. But
Yalla Home
with Ella Schofield.
Big House.
On a Sunday night, 5:30. Nice having you with us. Yalla Home.
all right, let's talk about. So Melanie C was in an interview, and to Sky News, and she speaks about embracing her Spice Girls persona, the pop music, and becoming cool and kind of chipping away at Posh. That's what they're saying. So
she was quite endorsing of Posh actually from the snippet that I've seen.
Quote unquote. I just think she's teasing her. I think
Yeah.
because she said in the interview, the interviewer asked, "What will it get to
get
to get her back?" And she said, "Hey, we thought we did a show. I thought that would be enough to get her back." That's what they're saying. She's always been involved.
She also interestingly said that Posh was quite involved in the tour, and obviously helping them kind of market themselves and things, which is quite interesting. She obviously, Posh also went to see the show, and she kept saying, "Oh, I wish I was with you. I wish I was with you." So you never know. And they got such a good reception when they did it. I mean, people flew out of the UAE to go and see the tour. I remember I had lots of friends that were like, they flew over to go and see it wherever, UK, Ireland, wherever they toured. And And also Melanie C, really interesting because, she's had a lot of battles with anorexia.
Yeah.
And bulimia. I can't remember which one it is that she has. I get confused. But she definitely had an eating disorder, and a lot of it she attributes to being, Sporty Spice and the Spice Girls and just the whole bubble that it was. And she said going into the tour last year, she said she was quite scared of being Sporty Spice again. She was really nervous. And then she had this kind of epiphany. She was on stage and the crowd are loving it. And she's with the girls who she adores. And she said she just had a moment of, wow, this is what we created. And she stopped feeling anxious and she started to realize that it's not something that I needed to become. It's something that was within me. And then that relaxed her. And then she sort of went into it and she enjoyed the tour. But she obviously had to go through that bit of feeling anxious about, should I go back there? So it had funny memories for her. It's interesting.
It is. And what she said about, pop as a genre. But I mean,
it's changed. She said times have changed. It's okay.
I mean, it's known that hip-hop is the number one right now, and it took over rock last year and moved it over because rock was kind of dominating for a while, I think, and then hip-hop, I think last year or a couple of years ago even, kind of took over as the number one, genre out there. I think with pop, this is what we ask a lot of the pop singers especially. I think there's also a misconception about pop because a lot of people think that pop is only for fun. And, okay, it is that, but there's a lot of messages inside pop. I think the reason why hip-hop took over was because for the past couple of years with everything that's going on in the States with social injustice and stuff like that, people related to that more. And we were going through a time where you're feeling down. Yeah. You're not feeling happy, so maybe you're not listening to songs that will put you happy all the time. You feel like you want to think a little bit. And that's why, like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole pushed that as well because they're rappers that actually write something.
Right, there's a message.
Different than, I just want to be or hit me baby one more time or whatever. With all due respect, that's the difference. And I think it's interesting how the world shifted towards that with the world going with everything, with, the climate change, the politics, Trump, whatever it is that you're going through, and now obviously COVID. Yeah.
And there's always there's one definitive in life, and that's change.
Truth.
Things always change, and so it couldn't stay there. So hip hop is the main one. But I think it's okay to like when she said it, it's okay to like pop now. Yeah, but for a while it wasn't cool. It's not cool.
It's interesting because I think like that about country.
Yes, and that is true.
Like
you're
country.
right.
Right now, when you say you like country, you go like,
I know.
You go like,
I keep it on the down low. I don't. It's not something I walk into a room.
Country.
Yeah, country fan me.
Yeah, but I mean, you can like whatever. I always said this. Music is subjective. Like I always say this example. I know someone that think that Tupac is the wackest rapper ever.
Right.
And that's his opinion.
Is that bad?
Yeah, I mean, like
if something is wackest,
whack. Like,
is it bad?
It's a bad.
Like not very good. Okay,
like he's the worst rapper ever, Tupac, right?
Okay.
So again, some people think he's the best.
Yeah.
Like so, music generally is subjective. You can't. Like Sting, how amazing Sting, right? He's a legend.
Well, I'm not a fan.
You say, but Sting, what he was able to do musically,
true,
it was incredible.
Yeah.
But some people don't like his music. Like they don't vibe with the music.
I don't vibe with it.
And I think it's okay. And I think once we get out of that kind of, like that narrative of like, you don't have to like the music I like.
Yeah.
Or I don't like that, So it's okay. I love what she said. Like pop. Why not?
And she's not completely poppy when she does solo stuff.
Yeah.
She's very poppy when she does Spice Girls stuff.
Yeah.
She leans a bit more into the rock pop thing when she does solo stuff. But it's nice seeing her come out and talk about this stuff. She seems so happy and so together. That tour has obviously done her the world of good. I think she's put ghosts to bed and kind of gone, okay, I'm at home with being Sporty Spice. They say that the second time around is always sweeter. Yeah. And I take that with the same as well. Those bands were under such pressure and it was so full on when their first time round. They had nothing to compare it to.
True.
Happened super quickly. They were very young, and then you get old and realise that you had it super good.
Yeah.
And then you're more in control.
Yeah, truth.
So
what's your favorite Spice Girls song? There's so many, but
my favorite Spice Girls song. I like To Become One.
Oh wow, the slow one. Is it a slow one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the video for this one.
Yella Home
With Ella Schofield.
and Big House.
On a Sunday night, we're live through till 8 o'clock. Nice having you with us. We're going to talk sport now.
Yeah.
But this is sport Well, we're not talking about the actual sport. It's more how the sport was conducted.
Okay.
If I tell you that there was a rugby game played in Wellington, New Zealand, which is the capital of New Zealand, between Australia and New Zealand, so it's the All Blacks in Australia, and no one wore a mask, what would you say?
I don't know. That's crazy. I'm just trying to find out like some pictures. No one was wearing masks.
Nope. And they're not social distanced.
Yeah.
And they're in the stadium. I mean, and it was a packed stadium as well, completely mask-free. New Zealand has been COVID-free for a very long time. There's 31,000 spectators. And of course, they're not letting anyone in or out, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
So off they went.
What are your thoughts? I don't know. I'm just trying to see if there's any videos.
It gives me hope for life. I'm like, amazing. Can you imagine now going to, I mean, I love rugby, going to a rugby game and sitting next to people without a mask and not being offended by the hustle and the bustle of it, or you're in my space, or get out of my face, you know. That gives me hope. It actually gives me hope for live music more than sport, but I'll take sport.
Yeah, I'm just watching the... I mean, yeah, it was, I think it was, all packed out, and I'm just watching it right now. I don't know how I feel about it, like, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Obviously, they're COVID-free.
They're COVID-free. It's one of the only countries that is COVID-free, isn't it? Because they had it. It's not like they're one of the... There's a couple of countries who just haven't got it yet and are COVID-free. But they're small little islands and things, as far as last time I checked. But in terms of New Zealand, they got it. And, of course, their Prime Minister, she just went, right, enough.
Yeah.
Shut down the things, sorted it out. And
Shut down.
She was like, right, people. And they haven't got it. They're COVID-free. So
yeah,
that's the news.
I'm watching the crowd, and, there's no masks so far. I haven't seen anyone with a mask on, which is kind of interesting.
No, mask-free.
Yeah.
And there was lots of tries, and there was a penalty, and, you know.
Who won?
Who won? It's not even. Oh, it's a 16-16 draw, and there's a game next week as well. So it's going to be quite exciting the next week, because this one there was a draw. So they were saying, no one wants a draw.
That's crazy.
There was 10 minutes of play after the final hooter sounded, because neither side wanted to settle for a draw, so they were pushing on through. But a draw it was.
But obviously the headline is the no mask situation, right? That's crazy. I don't know how I feel about it.
Really?
Yeah, obviously great. I mean, big up. But yeah, you just have to wonder in your mind, like, how. Yeah.
But if no one's got it,
it would be yeah, I know, but they're not gonna, like, it's not everyone was tested negative before coming in.
No, but they don't have any in the country.
So no new people came into the country.
There's no one going to the doctors with suspected COVID-19.
No, like, no one flew in from Australia to attend this.
Well, the players must have done. So I was thinking about that. So I bet they flew in and they were obviously quarantined. Because if you fly into Australia at the moment, and I imagine, I don't know the situation in New Zealand, but if you fly into Australia, you are taken straight away to a maximum secure kind of hotel.
Okay.
And they push food through. A slot in the door, and you stay there for 2 weeks. I've got two sets of friends.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 whole weeks, 14 days, 14 nights. Which
is the way it should be done. Like, a friend of mine just went to USA and then came back to Canada, where he lives, and he stayed quarantining for 2 weeks. It was a must in a hotel. Yeah.
They lock the door. I mean, if there's a fire, it'd be terrifying. But I've just had Donna and Richard do it, and the meals were pushed through. And in fact, Donna complained after the third day, because it was a beef or chicken situation, and they'd had beef for 3 days running, and she was like, please give us something else, because I mean, 14 days and 14 nights in one hotel room with the same person.
I think that's tough.
Yalla Home
with Anna Schofield
and Big House.
Music's greatest songs. Worth covering. Original classic hitmakers.
You see, never let it be said that I don't bring you a diverse range of music on this segment, the Music Greats. And this is a great song. This song did massive things throughout so many charts across the world. It was huge. The song crashed in. Let me give you the story of the song, because it's outrageous. And then I'll give you the story of the band, because let's face it, who knows the band? It's one of those one-hit wonders, and nobody could tell you, who sung Who Let the Dogs Out. Everyone can probably sing the chorus because it's also been in movies, but no one could say the band. The band is actually called the Baha Men, and
I know the band.
You know the band?
Yeah, Baha Men, yeah.
Baha Men. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, you knew them from the song.
That's right.
I think that's
and nothing
it.
since, really. No.
Not that I know of. Maybe you'll tell me something different now.
Well, I mean, they have been releasing music, but they never managed to repeat what this song did. So let me tell you the story of the song because it's quite funny. So if you listen to the song, you'll know that the words are, who let the dogs out? Rough, 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 rough. Who let the dogs out? Right, so it's pretty much... okay, that's what we're getting from it.
Rough. See,
rough.
This is why Anna needs to meet Snoop Dogg right now, because of that. Because something like this will definitely be like, that definitely will work, Hello, Snoop Dogg, row, row, row. And he'll be like, oh, okay.
I can bark.
I mean, they don't say it that way. We can hear it,
No, but I can.
Let the dogs
do you want me
out?
to do a bark? I can do one.
Yeah, no, I've heard you.
Oh, okay. You don't want me to bark on air?
It's up to you.
I'm like, come on, ask me to bark. I'm ready to bark. No, all right, I won't bark. It's just quite funny. I used to play it in the UK. I could bark in a changing room and everyone used to think there was a dog in there.
It's the dog and the monkey. You do like
the monkey, yeah. They're
my
traits.
God.
Okay, so back to the song, Who Let the Dogs Out? So it's the year 2000 and this song crashes through. Here's the story of it. It was originally, it's written by someone from Trinidad, actually, Trinidadian. How do you say that? Artist. So that he was the original, and it was called Doggy. And then it changed to Who Let the Dogs Out when it became a song that the Baha Men were doing. And of course, that was the record company that completely crafted this and put the Baha Men on it and crafted the new title of the song. It was covered by a producer called Jonathan King, who's huge in the UK, and he sang it under the name Fat Jack and the Pack of Pets. I don't think that particular rendition made ripples. So that was fine. He sung it, but he did give it to his friend Steve Greenberg, who was an A&R man, and that's how it became famous. This song has been featured in Rugrats in Paris, the movie, and that's when it became big in the States. America was the only country practically in the globe who didn't get it, and it didn't chart. It sat at number 40. The Americans were like, no, we don't get it. However, the rest of the world thought it was hilarious. So get this. I'll give you the stats in the minute, but let's talk about it as a song. It's the manager of the Baha Men obviously grabbed it, but the writer of the song said, the song has nothing to do with dogs. The song has a feminist theme. Unbelievable. So he's in an interview, and then it was published on his website, and he said it's a man-bashing song. It's a total man-bashing song.
Yeah.
He said if you listen to the lyrics of the song, the party was nice, the party was pumping, and then everyone's happy and everyone's having a good time. Then suddenly the guys arrive, and the guys start trash-talking the girls.
Yeah.
The girls turn around and they start saying stuff back. The trash talk carries on, and then the girls start singing Who Let the Dogs Out.
Very elevating song.
But that's about, we call men dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard it.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
So there you go. But I never knew that. And also, if you look at the video, it's a security guard and he's sitting there sleeping with a bulldog. And then suddenly the dogs break out and everyone starts saying, who let the dogs? And it literally is about the dogs.
Yeah.
So they didn't really give it a feminist twist. It would have been nice if they did. Listen to the stats on it, though. It peaked at number 2 on the UK singles chart, and I remember it sitting there. Then it topped the charts in Australia, New Zealand, top 40 in America, but then did better when Rugrats in Paris came out. John Peel in the UK did it, but then it went to Norway, Spain, everywhere, across Europe. Like, everyone loved it, number 1. So you can actually sing this song most places in the world, and they're going to know it. Also, so Bahamian, there's the word. I was trying to work out how I say it. Bahamian popular culture has obviously embraced this song because their band had such a massive hit with it.
It would be interesting to find out if this song was dropped now. Would it have the same success as before?
But I mean, it's a kind of a comedy song. And I think with a comedy song, it gets one hit. and I think everyone knows it. You know, it can be played in the party set. So let me tell you about the Baha Men. They were formed in 1977. They are no spring chickens. And apparently they're a high voltage band. They like disco, they like funk. They were playing lots of the hotels and things in the Bahamas, released several albums by themselves.
Okay.
So they're big in the Bahamas, okay? And then in 1991, one of their tapes, went to Atlantic Records. That was when Steve Greenberg entered Stage Left. And that's when they ended up having this huge release. Their albums are so funny. Like What I Like, Dune Spunk, Junkaroo, just hilarious album names. And of course, they haven't had a success with any other song. This was their one.
Wow.
I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. But it was discussed, this is also funny, in 2008, Who Let the Dogs Out as a song was discussed on I Love the New Millennium. And the Baha Men's most recent album, Ride With Me, was released. And they then decided that Who Let the Dogs Out is one of the most annoying songs of all time.
Agree.
So, but are you not going to enjoy it a little bit when I play this in full?
No, I mean, I enjoy the angle that you always bring, but I'm not a big fan of the song.
No, I understand
Like
that.
when the song came out, I was like, what is that? Really? Like, who don't let the dog? What? But again, that's what I'm saying right now. When this song came out, what are you saying, 2000?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just so in high school, kind of first year of university, and I was like, this song was it. Like, it was played in everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see how people consume music now. And if this song would have made the same impact because of how we listen to music now.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Because people listen to this in the club, really. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even think that it played on a video like it was really famous back then.
MTV, yeah.
I know.
But also radio.
But see how we used to consume music. It was like MTV,
Yeah.
now it's on YouTube. Like the
Yeah, you're right.
You gotta...
Different.
Yeah, I don't know how many plays it even have on YouTube, but it's interesting, the story behind it.
And here's another little anecdote that's just a gem. So this is quite a famous story in the UK. So Posh Spice does a song with a guy called Dame Bowers. I've actually featured it here on the Music Greats. So they do a song together. Dame Bowers, not that well known. Posh Spice, obviously very well known. It's her first solo single, and she did it with him and his band. When she released it, he was dating a very famous model called Katie Price, who is known as Jordan, and this is her nickname. She's very renowned more than anything else in the UK. I'm not sure she's loved, but she's very out there, and she's not frightened to remove garments.
What's her name?
You know. Katie Price.
Okay.
And she's known for all the wrong reasons, to be honest, Tass. Anyway, he was dating her, and so they're at this promotion for the song, and they're somewhere, and David Beckham's there, and it's there's lots of celebrities there. And she walks in, Katie Price, because she's obviously dating Dame Bowers. And allegedly, and this is how the story goes, Victoria was with some friends.
Okay.
And she didn't like Katie, and Katie apparently didn't like her. No idea why. Anyway, Victoria turned around, and her friends started singing Who Let the Dogs Out as she walked in.
Damn.
And it was the most public display of
affection,
dislike and hatred for Katie Price, who had to then endure it because the whole room saw them singing about her as she walked in. Nasty moment.
Not nice, Posh Spice.
No.
Not nice.
No.
Stop bullying people,
That
Posh
was
Spice.
a bully moment.
That was a bully moment.
Yeah.
I don't care if your husband is David, I don't know what. Come on, girl.
But if you knew Katie Price, you might
Maybe you'll
also
feel
go,
like, okay. I mean, I'm seeing the picture right now, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy story about... But see,
Brilliant.
that's exactly how the song is being portrayed. Like when you want to hate on somebody, you put the song out.
Yeah.
Who let the dogs out? Who?
Yeah, you see, woof, woof, woof.
They don't actually say woof, woof. I want to hear it. I think they say who.
No, they do, but woof is what dogs do.
Bugs.
They woof and they bark.
Okay, we're talking about how dogs bark right now.
We call it woofing. Do you
Woofing.
call it woofing?
I don't know what we call it.
Woof, woof.
I think they say who.
Dogs don't go hoo,
No, I'm just saying the lyric says, who let the dogs out? Who.
No, I know, but there's dogs in the background going, roo, roo, roo.
I said, ladies and gentlemen, we got the bark out of her. Just gonna say.
That's not my proper bark. Okay, let's play the song because this is just a party stopper. Enjoy it, turn it up. Even if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to really enjoy the song. Is it a hard start? Let's go.
Yellow Home
With Anna Schofield.
and Big House.
And it's Sunday night already, 25 to 7. Hope you're having a goodie. Let's talk about mental health.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do. I think
The
yes.
world is.
I think yesterday was the World Mental Health Day, and it's important to discuss it. The UAE's mental health helpline has received more than 700 calls since it was set up and in the pandemic. From May until end of August, staff was on those hotlines, have offered help and advice to 740 people across this country. I think for me, before going into the details of things, especially in this part of the world, in this region, I think not a lot of people. No, actually, there's a lot of people that talk about it, but there's a taboo still behind this, and there's a misconception. Same thing with autism. When I tell autism, oh, your son doesn't look autistic, or like there's special needs or whatever, they're still not. What is the best way to understand what mental health? Because people think that mental health means like you have a problem in your mind and you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
And this is not it. And I think the more we talk about it and the more we address it, I think the better. And this is where we can, break those stereotypes, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think that globally, it's a bit of a strange one. People don't like to admit. I mean, you wouldn't call into work and say, "Hi, I'm feeling a little unstable today, so I don't think I'll come in." It's not something you like to admit. Nobody likes to admit it. Nobody wants to admit it. But there's so much publicity now around the fact that it is rife. It was a big issue before we went into lockdown, but it's even more of a big issue now.
Yeah.
I know that the statistics in America with regard to teens is horrific in terms of mental illness. And for kids to be the rise in numbers for kids because of lockdown, the pandemic is huge. So that also needs, looking at, and it's terrifying to think that children are depressed and children are feeling challenged by things. That children,
Yeah, may I also add something? I don't know if this is going to be controversial or no, but I think it's just a lot of people go on social media, especially Instagram, and advocate and talk about mental health.
Okay.
That's absolutely wrong. Like, if you're not really certified, why are you talking about it? Like, and they talk about it and they have people listening to them. 80% of the things that they're saying has been proven to be wrong.
Oh, okay.
But because Instagram gives you that, what are you going to headline, right? Hello, today we're going to be speaking about mental health. I can't talk about mental health myself,
I do want it to be in the public domain. I do want it to be a discussion point.
Sure.
Because, like saying, oh, whoopsie, I've got a cold, or whoopsie, I've got chicken pox, or, can't come out today, feeling ill. That's fine. You will not say, hi, I'm actually suffering from mental health today, so I'm not going to come out. It's not something that would come out of anyone's mouth.
Yeah.
But
true.
at the same time, you're completely right. Misinformation.
Yeah,
don't start trying to preach.
People want to gain followers just because because there's a big difference between somebody who's actually studied, they actually went to university and study, and again, I'm being very respectful here. I see a lot of brothers and sisters, and I know them, can name them. They go on, they take a 10-week course, and then they call themselves like, I'm a mental health specialist or whatever.
Really?
That's not, a lot of them, especially on Instagram, it's filled over. And who's going to pinpoint what? Like, if I have a problem, like, for example, you come to me when it comes to talk about hip-hop, right? Or whatever it is, some sort of things about hip-hop, great. I'm not going to advocate things like in rock or whatever, any other genre. I love hip-hop, that's what I know.
Yeah.
But when people, for example, started speaking about mental health, I see a lot of them, they like, yeah, this is my 4 weeks program. I studied once a week and I did this thing online, which is a hoax anyway, in my opinion. I'm not trying to downgrade what you were doing, but there are people that went to university and study that, and it's their passion, and it's their...
They're doctors.
So, yeah, doctors, exactly. Big difference between doctors and just an Instagram wannabe.
Years and years. Yeah, no, I completely agree. But the UAE does have the helpline. If you do feel that you want to call it, 800-4673 is the number, or you can WhatsApp 800-HOPE, which is really easy to remember.
800-HOPE.
You don't even have to phone the number. You can WhatsApp them, which I think is amazing because it cuts off that fear point. 800-HOPE if you want to, HOPE if you want to WhatsApp, or you can call 800-4673 and it's open to everyone.
And please reach out. There's nothing to be shy about. I think this is, you have to reach out if you need help. We all need help. reach out, say something, talk about it. Don't let yourself dive into that space where you're not reachable. But on the contrary, reach out. Anyone who says otherwise, tell them to speak to me and Anna Scofield. We'll take care of them. That's it. We're gonna be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yellow Home
With Anna Scofield.
and Big House.
Live through till 8. Stay and play. We like having you with us. Hope it's a good Sunday for you.
100%. Okay, Anna, what is this about theatre and London?
So obviously London has quite an amazing theatre land. They call it theatre land. And it's been in COVID hibernation. The whole thing, all theatres everywhere got completely shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you've got live people on stage. It's not like at the cinema. You've got live people on stage, you've got live people backstage, and you've got a live audience. So it is the sheer definition of live. And it was cut off. Talking to performers, you know, they have come forward in London and said, we have been social kind of blocked the most out of anything because of what it's been. So since March, theatres have remained closed. They haven't opened. And suddenly a smattering of shows have now been streamed online with no audience. But now we've got a few that are also letting in audience members.
Wow.
So at the Young Vic Theatre last week, there was a show called The New Tomorrow. And it was the first post-shutdown live theatre with an audience present. Really, really nice. But they did a combo. They streamed it online as well.
Yeah.
But you see, I don't want to watch my theatre online. The whole point is theatre is a live experience. You know, if the actors trip up on a line or they trip up on stage or whatever, it's live. It's live, you know. So I probably wouldn't be one of those people who tuned in online because that defeats the object for me. I can watch a film. But they did both. So they streamed it online and they also had a small audience. And it was several short sort of pieces, commissioned pieces, and activist speeches and did various things, you know, but it doesn't matter what it was. Theatres opened and there was an audience in them.
That's great.
Yeah. So hopefully the knock-on effect will be Broadway and other countries and just gradually opening up with, like you've always said, living with it. We are doing this with it.
You know what's interesting is like we started this pandemic and then it was like the lockdown and then the degrees of it, and now we've been in talks about going back to normal, and you're just worried about, like, you know, obviously it's a pandemic, like 37, we're approaching 40 million cases. It's you know, it's just, this is what worries us. You just want to make sure that you're doing it safe.
Yeah.
I do think, however, like even with the new events that are happening in the UAE, they're talking about, like, there's this big music and cultural event happening. They're talking about safety measures, social distancing. This will be the future for a long time, and that's still live. Everything is cool. It's just that, you know.
How long?
I think
if you're my oracle, how long?
Personally, for me, I think it will continue until end of 2021, in my opinion, because, like, if you think about it, we don't know nothing about, and you said it beautifully. The WHO keeps sending these messages. We don't know a lot about this virus.
Yeah.
So maybe at the end of the year, they'll come up with something else. And then obviously they're talking about a vaccine. Is the vaccine actually working? Is it not working? Does it have side effects? There's a lot of things to think about.
Yeah,
so it's not like, hey, tomorrow we're going to be okay. No, I think this is going to be the situation. And now event companies, like the UAE has been, you know.
They're just adapting, aren't they?
Yeah. I know an event company that actually started off doing events either online. You buy tickets, and you go to the event. It's social distancing. The event venue was a stand-in, and now you go, like, there's a table and there's 3 people in the table. They have to belong in the same family. Social distancing and like kind of borders in the line.
Yeah.
You know. And
All
even on stage itself with the artist performing, there's social distancing.
There's social distancing.
So it's it is there, but that's incredible to hear about London and you know, of course, the theatre.
Yellow Home
With Anna Scofield.
and Big House.
This is Local Pulse with Big House.
At 20 to 8, we are here through till 8 o'clock. This is the element of the show which is super local, super brilliant, and mostly because Big Hass, renowned for his connections with local talent, not just hip-hop head, he actually is plugged into local talent, as in local artists. Who are you shining your spotlight on today?
Today, Local Pulse is Omar Effendim. He's a Syrian-American hip-hop artist, designer, poet, peace activist. The guy is incredible. He was born in Saudi Arabia, raised in Washington, D.C., and now he lives in Los Angeles with his wife and 2 kids, of course. He tours the world performing internationally at music festivals. What I like about him is that he lectures at major academics, and he's so much into poetry.
Oh, wow.
He's one of my heroes, meaning when 2007, when I first launched my blog, Revolt in Saudi Arabia, he's one of the guys that inspired me. Why? Because he was repping that old poetry and translating poetry from Arabic to English so that the West understands that we also have poetry. So he was really good at that. And he was doing English to Arabic as well. So he was like the bridge between us, which is really amazing. Omar Effendim has amazing, incredible, highly acclaimed songs, about the MENA region and also about living in Los Angeles. He teaches. He's an incredible human being, in my opinion. What's interesting though is his story. So he attended an Islamic Saudi Academy school in Los Angeles. He graduated from that in 1999 and went to attend the University of Virginia School of Architecture. So he's an amazing, incredible architect.
He has a serious brain on him.
Yes, exactly, big time. So he graduated on the Dean's List in 2003, moved to Los Angeles, where he worked as an architect for 10 years.
Wow.
Before actually taking it, of course. And he's doing music always on the side. Now, what's incredible about Omar Effendim is that he's a perfectionist. His first album was released in 2011. And then he's been dropping singles here and there, small EP, really working. Just a month ago, he dropped his kind of second album called Lost in Translation. But that first album called Syriana Americana is a classic. Not only in Arabic hip-hop, in hip-hop. He mainly performs in English. But he is just incredible. And he's opened for so many people. He's been doing his thing for the past kind of 15 years. Syriana Americana is an album that impacted me and impacted so many people. And he always uses, of course, sampling to highlight, our heritage. His latest album, Lost in Translation, is produced by a producer called Thanks Joey, who's also remarkable.
I like that
he's
name.
also from he's also from Syria, living in Los Angeles. I had the pleasure to have him on Buckle Up, and which is like my YouTube show, and they talk about how in the pandemic it was kind of easier for them to do this work, which is kind of interesting just to tell. For all the artists out there, the pandemic came in as a blessing sometimes because they found themselves home and they're like, we got to do music.
Yeah.
Yes, the money was an issue, but then, the time was there.
Yeah.
So they created this incredible album called Lost in Translation. And what really, all the brothers and sisters from Syria will understand what I'm talking about. This album was inspired by a famous Syrian legend by the name of Durad Laham, who's known as Ghawar al-Toshe. And he's like a famous actor in Syrian. He's known to be acting and singing. So really, really old. I'm talking 70s, maybe, 70s, 80s, early 80s. And all these movies that this actor did, they took a lot of inspiration of that.
Right.
The incredible thing that Omar Effendim did, though, is that he changed his vibe from a very, very, I would say maybe serious, very political maybe tone in the beginning to now having a little bit more fun and just a little bit, approachable, which is kind of interesting. I'm not used to Omar Effendim that way.
Okay.
But again, when I asked him about that, he said, hey, you get married, you got 2 kids, your life changes. This is what happens.
And it does, doesn't it?
And your life changes, exactly. And your vibe changes.
Yeah.
But he's definitely one of the pillars and one of the people I definitely look up to. He's based in LA, so he's American and he's Syrian, but he never forgot Syria. Syria is always on his mind.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that about an artist. You don't forget where you come from.
Yeah.
So the song we're about to play right now is called "Oh Marvelous." We're going to hear this track and then we're going to tell you guys to have a good time. So definitely, we love you guys. We say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If you liked this episode of Yalla Home, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.